Hi everyone, this is the second in a series of short videos explaining what's next in Crofton Parish. So, what's next in Crofton Parish? As I hope you listened and you heard in the first video in this short series, churches are places of higher risk of viral spread than lots of other places. So even as our society reopens a little bit, churches are going to be living with restrictions for quite a long period of time, we expect. And so we've had to have a think about our approach to that, and we've called what we think the next season is going to look like. We've called it what it means to be one river but many streams. And the reality is, for the next few weeks and months, we are going to be unable to gather as one river in the way that we're used to as a large church. But instead, we are subdividing the entire church, particularly at Holy Rood, down into groups of less than 30 called streams, which can meet safely on site to pray, support one another, share and care for each other. And in this short video, I want to explain very briefly how those streams are being set up. There are 3 stages. So here's stage number 1. Stage number 1 is clustering our existing home groups into streams, into larger groups of around about 30 people that can meet safely together on site. So if you're in a home group, then hopefully your home group leader may already have had a conversation with me about what new group your home group is going to be part of. You'll still be a home group, you'll still be able to meet regularly, but hopefully at least once a month you'll be able to gather with the rest of your stream for a wider time of fellowship and sharing and prayer and learning together. Now, I hope that by the time you've watched this video, I will have spoken to all of the home group leaders, but I might not have done. So if I haven't got round to your home group yet, please do be patient with me and we will get there in due course. That's step 1. Stage 2 is for those people who aren't yet in a home group, in a Crofton Parish home group. And that's a lot of people. We have about 250 adults in our home groups, but then on top of that, we have another 170 adults who aren't in home groups, including 45 families. That is a lot of people. So we want to make sure that every one of you gets an invitation to join a stream if you would like to do so. Now, some of those invitations will be into the existing streams made up of our home groups, but we are also going to be setting up some brand new streams for people that aren't in groups already, and particularly for families, particularly probably 2 or 3 new streams aimed at younger families or families with primary school aged children. And again, we'll communicate with those in due course. I hope to have as much of this sorted by the end of July as possible, but it is a pretty mammoth task. So there is one thing I would like to ask of you at this point though, and if you are not on our congregational database, then we can't communicate with you. We can't make that invitation to you. So please do get in touch with the office this week. Make sure that we've got your email or your telephone. Thank you. The third stage, the final stage, is that we know that we need to set up some specialist streams for children and for young people. Children, particularly as they get into junior age range in school and certainly in secondary school, they need their own space. They need their own space away from their families to explore questions of faith, to work out who Jesus is and what it means for them to follow him as the young adults that they're becoming. So hopefully so our aim is that by the autumn, by September, we will have a number of specialist streams set up for junior age children and secondary school young people as well. Parents, do make sure you look out for those as we get them set up over the summer and into the autumn. I got no rules, I count 'em. Just before we finish, I want to leave you with a final thought from John chapter 4, from the story that we've been looking at this morning. As the conversation between Jesus and the Samaritan woman continued, she asked him a question about where to worship. She said, well, you Jewish folks, you say that we should worship God in the temple at Jerusalem, but we Samaritans think that you should worship God here on Mount Gerizim. So what's the answer? Where should we worship? And Jesus answered her question really simply and really clearly. He said, actually, it's not about where you worship, it's about who you worship and how you worship. He said, but let me tell you the truth. A time has now come when the true worshippers will worship the Father, that's who you worship, in spirit and in truth. That's how you worship. And for us over the next few months, it would be very easy to become preoccupied with getting our buildings open on Sunday mornings, and lots of churches around the country will do that, and that's understandable. And we are working on a plan to get our buildings reopened. But it's important that we not become preoccupied with when and where we worship, that we remember the bigger question is who and how we worship. And if we spend the next few months kind of constantly worrying about when we can go back to being the gathered people of God, it may be that we miss the opportunities to discover what it means to be the scattered people of God. I got no rules, I count 'em.